Now the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
Of the program Inside the Print Media. Today is Monday, November 6, 2023 edition of the program Inside the Print Media. I'm here with my co-presenter, Mohammed Van Kanet, and together we will be bringing you all of the stories relating to our country, Liberia, and the world at large. So we are very sorry that Grafina Okorish-Pa, who normally sits in the driving seat, is not here due to some man illness. In the coming days, she will definitely recover, and together we will be bringing you all of the major stories relative to the program Inside the Print Media. So I will place Mohammed Van Kanet on the camera.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So Mohammed, welcome to Monday edition of the program Inside the Print Media.
Thank you so much, my dear brother Lyndon. It's a pleasure being back on this platform after a week-long stay due to some family issues. It's good being back here.
So how is the issue that you were actually running after, a relative to your sister, and who you told us that she was actually sick?
Yeah, thanks be to the Almighty Allah that the situation is a bit okay, that she went through all of the medical prescriptions that were given, and she abided by all of those things. At the end of the day, she went on a surgery, but at least thank God she's okay. She's improving gradually, but she's still at JFK. But the condition is improving. It is more better than a few days ago. So we say thanks and appreciation to God.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed Van Kanen. We hope that in the coming days, your sister will definitely recover, and because you have been very depressed relative to this particular situation. So, okay, folks, we want to officially welcome you to the program Inside the Print Media. Today, we will be giving you stories from the Daily Observer newspaper, the Front Page Africa newspaper, the Independent Pop newspaper, the Hot Pepper newspaper, and other newspapers in our country, Liberia. So we'll take a very short break. When we resume, we will begin reading the top stories of those newspapers, the Front Page Africa, the Daily Observer newspaper, the Hot Pepper newspaper. So let's take a short break. When we resume, we'll give you the headlines and both the details relative to the newspaper I just mentioned.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Togba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Togba. My name is Grafina Okorish-Pa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
Wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
I want to say welcome again to the program Inside the Print Media. Today is November 6, 2023, and this is how we always keep you informed about the situations happening in our motherland and as well as the globe. So let's take a look at the stories on the Daily Observer newspaper. Lucien Camara, fourth place presidential candidate, endorses Waka for runoff elections. Lucien Camara, fourth place presidential candidate, endorses Waka for runoff elections. Let's get to the details. Lucien Camara, the fourth place presidential candidate in the just ended October 10th poll, has officially endorsed former Vice President Joseph Boakai ahead of the November 14th runoff elections. Camara, the presidential candidate of All Liberian Coalition Party, garnered a nationwide vote of 35,983, constituting 1.96% of the total vote shared in the initial round of the elections. The endorsement, which marks the second of the top 6 presidential candidates to the true support behind Boakai, comes a few days after he had held a consultative meeting with President George Weah, who was also seeking his support for the upcoming runoff elections. As we move forward to the runoff election, ICOP has gathered support through intensive consultation, which served as the major drivers of our decision for alignment. Camara said at an elaborate program held at his party campaign headquarters on Thursday. Now, therefore, fellow Liberians and distinguished partisans, we, the officials and the members of the All Liberian Coalition Party, thereby endorse the presidential bid of the standard bearer of the Unity Party, Ambassador Joseph Boakai, he added. Camara, who revealed that the collaboration with the Unity Party would lead to a victory, is also requesting that the former vice president, when elected, consider his party's manifesto in shaping Liberia's governing policies, as well as establishing inclusive government for the benefit of all. The vision of ICOP, according to Camara, is to address governance and challenges of the country while promoting socio-economic development that impact the lives of all Liberians. ICOP manifesto must also be considered in formulating the governing policies of Liberia and establishing a government of inclusion for the benefits of all Liberians, Kamara said. However, Kamara's endorsement of Waka has led to some split within the party. While he and the majority bloc of the party were endorsing Waka yesterday, a faction led by the party's vice presidential candidate Matthew Dabu was also pledging its support for President Weah re-election. The split endorsement has raised concern about what impact it will have on the party's ability to give direction to its supporters. The upcoming presidential runoff election is a crucial moment for Liberia, with Weah and Waka locked in a fierce competition for the presidency. The latter came second with 796,961 votes, representing 43.44%, while Fomon Weah topped the October 10 election result with 804,087 votes, constituting 43.83%. With neither candidate reaching the 50% threshold, a runoff was then scheduled, which is a rematch of the 2017 elections in which Waka trailed Weah in the second round of voting and then lost a runoff by a wide margin. Waka had run his elections under the slogan Rescue Mission, accusing the president of taking Liberia downhill during his first term. However, Weah has dismissed such claims, saying that he has made significant strides, including introducing free tuition for university students, which birthed his slogan, Hope You Can Count On. However, Kamara endorsements of Waka has added an influential voice to Waka's campaign as he boasts a loyal constituency, the Muslim community, who is in their majority rather than in the just ended pool. According to the 2022 census, an estimated 12.2% of the country's nearly 5.5 million people are Muslim. For years, the Muslim community has raised concerns about their limited into political party structure across the country. These positions, Kamara has the voice of such a large voting bloc that is spread across the country. Accepting the endorsement, Waka said he sees a future of inclusion wherein the children of Christians and Muslims and the various ethnic groups working together harmoniously for the development of these nations. Waka added that Kamara has joined him along with others to salvage and restore what the past devastating 6 years of misrule have left of our nation. Reading with the adage of thinking Liberia, loving Liberia, and building Liberia, we gathered today to post ranks, to tax or to galvanize, to move forward the march of this nation. The significance of this occasion thus defies any underestimation. The gathering here on this historic day is to witness a noble patriotic move that will embolden our efforts to rescue this nation from the depth of degradation to which the current wasteful and corrupt conglomerations of incompetent and non-machiavellian characters have pushed it. Waka added. However, Dablo, who endorsed Weah, said he is prepared to work to ensure that President Weah's second term is maintained. With this being said, this is how we will turn it over to my co-presenter Mohammed Bani Kane to bring us stories from the New Dawn newspaper. Mohammed, it's over to you. Please fill the Liberian people in with stories you have from your end.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening once more. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are following us based on your geographical location. So for the New Dawn newspaper, we have We As Muslim Support Swells. We As Muslim Support Swells. In depth of this story on the New Dawn newspaper. Support for President Weah's re-election bid has swelled among Muslims in Liberia as he received overwhelming backing for the runoff. President Weah and his rival, Joseph Newman Boyka of the Opposition United Party, will meet in a runoff next week on Tuesday, 14 November 2023. They ended the first round of the election in a tight race following a process contested in October by 20 presidential candidates. Meanwhile, Mr. Weah continues to rally his supporters to keep him in the presidency to continue what he said is the right path for development and to leave a legacy. On Sunday, 5 November 2023, members of the Union of Liberian Muslims and the National Development Party, or NDP, stormed the main Japan Freeway New Hope community to endorse Mr. Weah's re-election bid. They comprise the Mandingos, Fula, and Bandi communities in Liberia. At the endorsement rally, a cross-section of Muslim groups said it is an easy decision to choose between the two presidential candidates. They said President Weah has done so much for Muslims than any other president. The chairman of the NDP, Musa Sheri, assured President Weah that the Muslim community has resolved to ensure that he is re-elected on 14 November. Mr. Sheri said Muslims stand with President Weah for his unprecedented love for them and for empowering them in his government. Mohammed Esbar, chairman of the Fula community, admonished Muslims, including the Fula community, to overwhelmingly vote for Mr. Weah. He described President Weah as a selfless leader who cared for the welfare of Muslims. Mr. Barr believes that removing President Weah could damage the progress of the nation and still the Muslims' well-being. Also speaking, President Weah's special aide, Mr. Seko Kalasko Damaro, assured Mr. Weah that Muslims would stand by him. He stated that President Weah has demonstrated his love and care for Muslims. Mr. Damaro indicated that Mr. Weah has done what Mr. Weah has done for Muslims. No other president has done it. He credited President Weah for empowering youthful Muslims in his government. Mr. President, I want to say to you what you have done for Islam, the Mandingos, the Fula people in this country. There has not been any president to have done it, said Kalasko. Due to that, the Muslims love President Weah and will stand by him in the darkest moment. In response, President Weah expressed thanks to the Muslims for the endorsement. He said it demonstrates their commitment to continuity and stability, adding that it signified their approval of his governance policies that will bring progress and prosperity to Liberia. President Weah pledged to accelerate and implement existing programs that will benefit every Liberian and introduce new ones that will justify the choice of Muslims. Mr. Weah also acknowledged gains made by his administration, emphasized his government's striving to improving education, healthcare, and infrastructural development. Vote for number 2, vote for progress, peace, and prosperity. Together we can assure a better future for Liberia. That is where the dreams and aspirations of our people are reality, said President Weah. The next story on this newspaper is CPP chooses Weah over Bawka. CPP chooses Weah over Bawka. The executive committee of the opposition collaborating political party over the weekend endorsed the re-election bid of incumbent President Weah over his fierce rival, former Vice President Joseph Nima Bawka. The CPP comprises the Alternative National Congress of former Coca-Cola executive Mr. Eric Zanobi Cummins and a fraction of the Labour Party. But both men are scheduled to go head-to-head on November 14 in what is anticipated to be a too close to call battle for the executive mansion. He pledges the collaborating party's commitment to working with the CDC in the best interest of the people. According to Chairman Benedict, the decision to endorse the CDC was reached after careful vetting of the two candidates in the runoff of Weah and Bawka by all executives of the CPP. Reading the endorsement statement, CPP Secretary General Councillor Loshoto explains that after careful consultations between executives of the CPP and meaningful discussion with the UP and CDC, they overwhelmingly endorsed the re-election bid of President George Manneh Weah as the best among the two in the runoff. According to him, the CDC has agreed and committed themselves to realization of implementing all of 12 policies proposals highlighted in the CPP agenda for a desired change of system that will benefit all Liberians. Councillor Toh says, though the CPP did not win the election, their decision to support any of the front runners going to the runoff election was driven by the people's desires for a change as enshrined in the policies agenda of the CPP. Today, we have pledged to support the CDC to ensure continuity in government More importantly, recruit more network jobs creation in the city, and the CDC expressed commitment to our 12 policies proposals. Four right within the attributes and principles of the CPP, Councillor Toll added. In response, CDC National Chairman Moba Malu thanks the CPP for the endorsement, which he says is a clear manifestation that the 2023 election is over with a landslide victory for President George Manneh Weah. Chairman Malu notes the endorsement by the CPP is a debt the CDC owes and will replicate by keeping all promises made in a long run to come, as President Weah will be leaving the scene after his second term in 2029. In described President Weah as the promise keeper who will fulfill all tasks with the collaborating political parties in the best interest of the Liberian people. We are deeply humble and happy with profound and practical endorsement from these giant political parties who have demonstrated a new paradigm of Liberian politics. On behalf of His Excellency George Manneh Weah and the 9 constituting political parties of the coalition, we express our deepest gratitude to the CPP he expresses. Also speaking, CPP Vice Tenor Bearer Councillor Charlie Bronsky expresses satisfaction with the endorsement and says they rely on the CDC to live up to the promises made to improve the welfare of the country if re-elected. Councillor Bronsky, daughter of the founder of the Labour Party, the late Councillor Charles Walker Bronsky, calls on Liberians to put aside their differences and forge ahead for the growth and development of Liberia. So that's it.
Well, thank you, Mohammed Van Cannon, for updating the Liberian populations about the story relative to the New Dawn newspaper. And this is how we move over to the Front Page Africa newspaper. Clever devil, Lyman Bowie expresses distrust in politician signing deal with Weah Bwaka ahead of runoff. Clever devil, Lyman Bowie expresses distrust in politicians signing deals with Weah Bwaka ahead of runoff. Renowned Liberian Nobel Peace Laureate Lyman Bowie has issued his stark warning to her fellow Liberians, urging them to exercise caution when it comes to politicians striking deals with President George Manneh Weah of the Coalitions of Democratic Change and former Vice President Joseph Dumont Bwaka of the Unity Party. Weah and Bwaka emerged as the top contenders in the October 10 general elections, with each securing slightly over 43% of the votes, setting the stage for a runoff on November 14, which is just around the corner. In the lead up to the runoff, both camps have been engaged in behind-the-scenes negotiation aimed at securing the support of other political parties and independent candidates. These negotiation endorsements have been marked by substantial demand for cabinet positions and financial incentives. Lyman Bowie, known for her unfiltered honesty, has described these Liberian politicians as clever devil. She explained that the clever devil, as defined by the chief imam of Liberia, is an educated individual who lacks character and conducts politics without principle. Bowie, who was awarded a Nobel Peace Laureate in 2011 alongside then President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and other instrumental role in ending Liberia's protracted civil war, expresses concern regarding the character, integrity, and truthfulness of many Liberian politicians in dealing with interaction. She expressed concern about the impact on Liberian youth, who often look up to these politicians as role models. She stated, all these so-called leaders, because true leaders can never do some of the things that they are seeing. No integrity, truth is far from everything. If someone says, if I need to walk over my model to get to where I need to get to, I will do that. No consideration for the ordinary people, and that is just said. But for me personally, it is disgusting and sickening to watch. Bowie's remark come at a time when political endorsements and support for the presidential runoff election appear to be tainted by demands for the distributions of cabinet positions and financial incentive as negotiations continue between the governing coalitions of Democratic Change and the opposition Unity Party. with this being said, is take us to another headline. NEC announces arrival of runoff ballot papers. The National Elections Commission has announced that in accordance with the Commission operational plan, ballot paper for the November 14, 2023 presidential runoff election has arrived in the country. According to the NEC 3,220,500 ballot paper were received in the country on Tuesday, October 31st, 2023, from the Republic of Ghana on a chartered Ethiopian cargo flight via the Rabat International Airport. The ballots were accompanied by other electoral materials, including the record of count forms, mock ballots, and tactile ballots guide. These ballots are currently stored securely under the protection of state security. The deployment of ballot papers and other sensitive and non-sensitive election materials to 19 ministerial offices in the 15 counties for onward distribution to the 2,080 voting precincts nationwide will commence in the next few days. The 3,320,000 ballot paper arrived in the country on Tuesday, October 31st, 2023, from the Republic of Ghana on a chartered Ethiopian cargo flight via the Rabat International Airport. The ballots were accompanied by other electoral material, including record of counts, mock ballots, and tactile ballots guide. In October, the National Elections Commission declared that campaign open for the runoff between former Vice President Joseph Boakai and incumbent George Weah of the Coalitions of Democratic Change. Liberia Electoral Commission's scheduled a presidential runoff for November after results showed that the two front-runners, President George Weah and opposition leader Joseph Boakai, have failed to secure enough votes. Weah holds a slim lead of 43.83% of the vote, while Boakai has 43.44% according to tally result from 100% of polling places as reported by the West African Nations Elections Commission. Commission Chairperson David Etta Brown-Lassana announced that the runoff would be held on November 14. She also mentioned that there were a record of turnout of 78.86 among 2.4 million registered voters. The October 10 election was widely seen as a test of support for former soccer star who is 57 years old. She was criticized in the first term by the opposition and Liberia's international partner for not doing enough to tackle corruption. On his campaign trail, he asked voters for more time to fulfill his promise to build the nation's broken economy, institutions, and infrastructure, pledging to pave more roads if elected. With this being said, we will turn it over to my colleague Mohammed Vani Kanan, who is seated in the co-presenter chair to fill you all with developments as it relates to the hot pepper newspaper. Mohammed is back over to you again so that you can fill the people in as it relates to the hot pepper newspaper.
All right, so from the hot pepper newspaper, we have investigate the use of country devil in Maryland election. Religious groups tell NEC. Investigate the use of country devil in Maryland election. Religious groups tell NEC. Members of the two main religious groups in the country have expressed shock over a report that country devil, the most feared traditional masquerade, assists in electoral malpractices and engulf the election in Maryland County. Followers of Christianity and Islam said the report is troubling political issues that requires the intervention of the National Elections Commission and all involved with powerful elections in the country. The group maintained that no free and fair democratic elections can be held in an electoral district governed by a tradition that caters only to the well-being of its members, adding that the adoption of people practices grossly undermines social justice and equally as enshrined in the Constitution. The Bishop of the Faith Mission Temple International, Reverend Dr. Jerry Yapa, said members of the Christian community We want the NEC to see the report as a challenge to its credibility and act appropriately and act promptly to prevent future political problems. Reverend Yapa underscored that the National Elections Commission is therefore under the oath to tell. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just bear with me. I'm so sorry. Reverend Yapa underscored that the National Elections Commission is therefore under oath to tell the Liberian people about an outside interference in the conduct of the election in Maryland County's electoral district number 2. Similar concerns have been expressed in the Islamic community where the country devil is considered unjust under the practice of the Quran. The senior man said, while we remain unopposed to the existence of the country devil, he will not support any election that is held under the influence of secret society. It can be recalled that the country devil alleged prevented several voters in District Number 2 Maryland County from exercising their franchise in the election which Anthony Williams won. Williams reported victory over the county's celebrated politician and incumbent Speaker of the House of Representatives, Buford Chambers, has been seen challenged by Marylanders who believe that the elections was interfered with. Meanwhile, the two sides are expected to appear before the full bench of commissioners at the National Elections Commission. So that is it so far, so good for the hot paper newspaper.
Okay, again, Mohammed Van Kanen, I want to say thank you. Thanks to all of you who have been watching. This is how we record your day. The reading of the international, that of the local news. We are very sorry. We want to register our apology that because we are pressed with other times and we are actually in the electionary season, it would be prudent for us to talk relative to some of the trending issues pertaining to our border politics in Liberia. So because of that, we will not bring to you the regular international update we normally bring to you. So Mohammed Van Kanen, I want to welcome you again to this particular platform. Before we go into our discussions, I will begin acknowledging some of our colleagues who have followed us. Perik Double Zodu, that's my friend. He is also a media practitioner who works with the New Republic newspaper. Then Emmanuel Fodedwa, an intellectual, a recognized intellectual in District 13. Emmanuel Fodedwa, one of our BKS followers. We want to say thanks to all of you who have been watching. I know our CEO Andy Brokaja is also watching this broadcast, and all the people who are also watching, but they are refusing to comment. We want to say thank you for always being with us. So over the last few days, since the presidential runoff was declared open, I have observed that there has been a lot of endorsement. There has been a lot of endorsement, particularly from the two parties that are actually involved into the runoff. I have seen CDC having discussions with the All Liberian Coalition's party, headed by Lucien F. Kamara, who recently endorsed Joseph Waka. I have seen him having a discussion with Alex Cummings, and likewise Waka has also had a discussions with other people too.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things I have noticed is that the ruling establishment that is headed by Ambassador, President George Manawia has, and still has an advantage in these elections. We cannot underestimate the fact that Joseph Waka does not have an advantage. He does have an advantage, but we're talking about financial advantage. The incumbent has the financial advantage. He has the ability to actually offer favor to people, which of course Joseph Waka may not have the capacity to do it. But one of the hypocrisies about people in the ruling establishment, or that is the opposition, is that all those who endorse Joseph or George Weah is actually against the affairs of the state or against the progress of the state. But those who endorse Ambassador Joseph Waka is actually turned as a patriot. I think you have been observing that. Perhaps you have your own way you want to comment around it.
Yeah, I have observed that for the past 2-3 weeks since NEC announced a runoff. And there have been a lot of endorsements made by political parties or representative candidate or senatorial candidates in the just ended October 10th presidential and legislative election. So, like us what you just said, you spoke of the hypocrisy. That is something of which we have to take outside of the border politics of our country, that there should be no space for castigating people in all sort of form. That if you do not support President Josh Manuel, then you do not love the states. You are a threat to the country. If you don't support former Vice President Joseph Nima Boyka, you do not love the states. But if you support him, it means that you love the states. If you don't support him, meaning that you don't want to rescue the country, but if you support him, then it means that he wants to rescue the country. So that is how the politics is playing. That is how the politics has been playing within our country. That if you are not on this side, you're going to be criticized in the worst form. But as a nationalist,
yeah.
yes, definitely so. You are not a nationalistic person. You do not believe that the country should not change, nothing different should change.
Status quo should
Exactly,
just
should just remain the same. That's how some of our people think. These are the thoughts of some of our people. So we look forward to seeing the minds of the people changing in the soonest possible time, that at least we will be able to critique our leaders on policy driven issues. But
yeah. Go ahead.
so I don't know whether you have observed since the runoff, our people are not concerned about policy, where they're going to get their leaders right before them, asking them what are those policies you have on your plate you can offer as it relates to the growth and development of this country. Our people are not really concerned about it. The entire country now is just concerned about endorsement.
Yeah, endorsement.
Yeah.
And another thing about endorsement, I see a lot of people criticizing endorsement. Especially those of the people from the Unity Party angle, they are the one I know who are thinking that everybody will definitely go their way.
No.
So one of the things I think it is a complete. I am still finding it difficult to realize is that how can CPP, a political leader who has been heard on multiple international media and even some of the local media as well, he said that in an event where the election goes to a second round, he would definitely endorse the opposition party based upon the opposition solidarity. I was so shocked that he had to step aside and he presented the task over to the EC, which is the executive committee. And the executive committee over time went to work and they actually endorsed President Weah. For me, I see it from two different angles. I see it as a kind of cash trap endorsement because we all know that the CPP the CPP has organized one of the protests in the country where they
tired suffering.
With tired suffering. So if you are tired suffering, or you organize a protest on a canopy with tired suffering, or on the slogan with tired suffering, then how did you arrive to this particular decision when executive members who participated in the likes of Uriah Yakula, the years of Mountain Cooler, the likes of Alonso Stowe, who once said they were actually tired suffering, they were actually annoyed with the mixed rules under President Weah. How is it that they arrive at this particular conclusion to actually endorse President Weah? For me, I see it as a kind of financially influenced decision by the EC. Well, I don't know, but perhaps you have your own.
Yeah, it could be, but you and I, we were not there when they sat around the table as it relates to the agreement, the terms and policy, or terms and conditions.
But I'm actually looking at the kind of vocal stance the CPP particularly has been. Some executive members of the CPP have been the likes of Louis Brown, the likes of Axel Jackson.
Yeah.
And, I'm following the closing argument.
Yes,
These people have been anchoring to ensure that President Weah was actually booted out of through a democratic process. I was so surprised to have seen the likes of Axel Jackson, who have been very vocal on both former Vice President Joseph Waka, and that of President George Weah, for him to even say, I'm actually supporting George Weah re-elections. Are you not surprised by that?
I'm not really surprised because for one fight to see one man in this country who castigate the president, not just the president, but the entire regime in this country, Henry Pedro Costa.
Yeah, Henry Pedro.
To have seen Henry Pedro Costa who said George Manuel Weah was the worst person to have ever existed on planet Earth. He said all kind of the nastiest things he said that about President Weah and his government.
So you foresee that the alignment with Costa, who has been very critical of the Weah-led administrations for more than 3 to 4 years, and you see it as a kind of reconciliation exercise. Is that how you see it?
I don't really see it as a reconciliation exercise or as a means of reconciliation. I see it as a means by which Costa has informed the people with just within a twinkle of an eye that Joe Boga is not the best person to lead this country. I just see it to be like those who are killing themselves for the politicians in this country. Let them just forget about killing themselves, cutting speech from each other, creating enemyship because of politicians, because this person does not support your candidate or you support this person does not support you. No. Let them just forget about that and then go to the ballot box and vote who they want to vote. Because if people who yesteryears they said the worst of thing, you talk about Ashley Jackson, Ashley Wilcombo Jackson, who is a former who served in the Manaseli-led government as a deputy minister for public affairs, who was seen once upon a time bashing Manaseli, using all kinds of adjectives. Later on, he started to support Ellen Johnson said, there's an old age problem. This is just how people think in this country, that if you are not a person who can insult the presidency or do not insult people in government, you cannot be seen at the national level. You cannot. You will not be given the opportunity.
Yeah, about the very Sunday which the ALP had a formal ceremony, even though there were some controversies and internal wrangling relative to the decision that the ALP folks made. Relative to was endorsing. The chairman of the party, Theodore Momo, wasn't part of it. He wasn't part of it. He strongly disagreed with the decision to endorse the re-election bid of President Weah. But President Weah did something very symbolic. He termed that particular action as symbolic. He said, because of politics, Ure has been knowing he and Ure have been very close. Because of politics, he has to abandon the Ure, he has to even abandon Teller, who grew up in his hand, and also he called Teller on the stage and he actually hugged Teller. To him, according to him, he said it was something symbolic. And for me, I see it as a kind of reconciliations. I see it as a kind of reconciliation.
No, let me disagree with you.
That's my opinion, and that's my opinion. I see it as a kind of reconciliation.
Sure.
Owing to the fact that President Weah and the Weah-led government has gone after Stella Ure when Stella Ure had a very good relationship with the collaborating political party when she was contesting in district number 15. The kind of attack she went through, I was even shocked when I even seen Stella Ure, who once held the Black Hat think tank. And after the likes of Henry Pedro Costa went silent, Costa who promoted Joseph Boakai after the 2017 elections when everybody thought Joseph Boakai's political career
went down the drain.
Went down the drain. Costa still remains a very significant factor in these elections because Costa, for my own definitions about how Costa behaves and the way Costa respond to issues relative to our border politics in Liberia, I see him as a kind of a very strong propagandist that every one of the sides is willing to have.
Yeah. Costa is a very, 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 very good propagandist. Costa has an absolute control over the microphone. But one of the biggest questions here is, at this dying minute, where he said he dressed the devil, so he about to tackle the devil, to take all the clothes off the devil. So one biggest question people are going to be asking, and the doubts going to be on the minds of the people is, can the propaganda Costa is preaching, can it change the minds of the people after using 5 years to promote somebody? It's just like after you finish doing all of the hard work for the woman in her mind, along with her parents, you have done all of the hard work. Tell them marry a woman and then you go and tell people say this woman is not okay, the woman not good.
The woman loving the other person.
Yeah, the woman loving another person. That is the kind of a case Costa is on now. But the final question to the electors, I think some of the electors are asking themselves, can this propaganda change our mindset? What Henry Patrick Costa is on, can it change us? Have we been carried away by just the short period of time propaganda Henry Patrick Costa is preaching all around the place in this country? That is the biggest question. And I want to believe there are folks within the CDC who are not happy, of course, that
who are not happy with
exactly
the fact that
has come back, because Costa said the nastiest things to people within the CDC, people within government, the Jeff Koji, almost everybody working in government. He said these things to people. He bashed people. So it should be a lesson for those who are emerging politicians in our country, who are coming from the grassroots level to ascend to the national level, or even at a party level, that let them see what is ongoing at the top.
From your own journalistic perspective, the exhalations of comments towards this particular decision that was recently made by the CPP, which is the Collaborating Political Party, and do you see it as a kind of way to actually safeguard the political career of Alexander Cummings? He doesn't want to get he doesn't want to get blood. He doesn't want to get caught into a web.
It is based on who you talk to.
Yeah.
Somebody could say Mr. Cummings' political career has damaged. Mr. Cummings doesn't have a political career ahead of 2029. But who are you to say Mr. Cummings doesn't have a political career 2029? There are individuals in this country who are going to say that. But you cannot determine. Things might change. Who knew Appleton around? The lone soldier who just came from the bag and then
I don't refer to him as a great politician.
Yeah.
It was somehow shocking because from the onset, every Liberian thought that
Cummings was going to take the third place.
Was going to be the kingmaker.
Yes.
And then you're going to make determinations as to who becomes the next president.
Definitely so.
But contrary to what everybody expected, Cummings, this guy here, this ghost politician,
Edward Appleton.
Yeah, Edward Appleton from nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, but with the fact that Edward Appleton has endorsed the re-elections of President Weah, and do you think that it is that endorsement is an advantage to the Weah-led administration? For me, I don't see it because a lot of people were even shocked. Who is this Edward Appleton guy? Who is this Edward Appleton guy? Nobody has seen him having any big political jamboree elsewhere, and nobody has. And for me, I'm a media practitioner. I have not seen anybody with Edward Appleton T-shirt. So for Edward Appleton need to keep repeating whenever GMB gets 13 or maybe 13, then the next person will always be Edward Appleton.
Yeah. You know, the issue about this these endorsements that are going across the country. The issue about it is that you just have few individuals who make up executive committee who had final decision as it relates to where the party go next. So these people, they have their partisans, and those politicians should understand that those political parties, they have their partisans, and not all of the partisans going to go the way in which these people have made that decision.
Even when all of the executive members, the stand-up bearers, the bystander
decide to go that way,
decide to go this way.
Yeah.
There are people who may be dissatisfied about the decision taken by the executive.
So there will be disenchanted partisans. Like you see Ako now.
Yeah.
Ako is in a fashion.
Yeah,
there is a fashion. Murphy W has his own fashion, while the Stenner Bell, Lucini Kamara has his own faction. You have the Liberty Party have their own faction led by Yombi Kanga, and then
I have been observing a lot of comments from people, supporters of Ako, who term Murphy W decision as a financially motivated decision to endorse President Weah. And this is the hypocrisy that you have to respect. This is the beauty of politics. The decision somebody make at the ballot box, or the decision somebody make during the course of endorsement exercise or the endorsement negotiation should be respected. So how sure are you? What's the gauge that you are using to determine that those who are supporting the efforts of President Joseph Waka presidential bid is actually nationalistic, or those who are supporting the re-elections of President Weah is as not nationalistic?
Yeah,
and that is the hypocrisy.
We just have to.
We need to refine our
definitely
thoughts. So. We actually need to refine our thoughts.
Definitely. So our politics need a hygiene. We need to change the mindset.
Yeah.
And how can the mindset be changed? Not those who you have appointed already. Those who are the electors that goes to the ballot box and make the decision. You are the one now supposed to change your mind. Look at people who are not qualified, who are not competent, who are commit atrocity in this country. Deny them, tell them, say, no, you cannot serve this country. Other country has done that. Sierra Leone, you don't come close to power there. Those who committed serious crime in their country,
atrocity.
They push them far away from the political space in their country.
And one of the things about the party folks is that they are just saying that the issues about the war and economic crime. For me, I don't see the actualizations of the war and economic crime for which many people have been criticizing President Weah and said President Weah was tight-lipped when President Weah said that we should prioritize and development. We should prioritize the issues about development rather than thinking in the directions of the establishment of war and economic tribunal in our country. But do you think, with the fact that Prince Johnson, a former warlord and a warlord, the likes of Bob Mackey, and who is now an evangelist, do you think that these two people who are helping championing the presidential bid of President Joseph Waka, do you think that Joseph Waka will actually prioritize the issues about the war and economic crime? That would be the same for me. That would be the same issues Joseph Waka would keep delaying this establishment of the war and economic crime code, because one of the things that it will happen is that, let us look at in 2011 when Winston A. Tubman, who was the political leader of the CDC at the time, when he managed to convince Prince Johnson
to get on their side
to the run of elections. That was few days to the run of elections. And because he went at a particular political rally and he said certain thing, a few days after, Prince Johnson went and endorsed Madam Salif. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because Prince Johnson had a fear that how can I support somebody who will end up going against me? You understand? Mm-hmm. So this whole issue about the war and economic crime code, I don't see it I think we rarely see it on Joe Biden leadership. You understand?
The thing about the war and economic crime code, that will come only if we have a president who's not going to be thinking about people who will come to him and say, Mr. President, do not sign this document. This is our kinsman. Mm-hmm. I'm appealing to you, Mr. President. Please do not sign this document. Mm-hmm. This is our kinsman. Mr. President, if you do it, those who are coming after to take on the CDC, they might not get vote from these people who hail from certain part of this country. Yeah. These things are absolutely wrong. Let the people face the consequences for the crimes they have committed in this country.
We are committed.
Because of what happened in this country, some of our brothers, our sisters, our uncles, nephews, and people who we are related to, they end up in the streets. Today, some of them, they are handicapped. They have no homes. Some of them lost their parents. So, like what you said, you do not foresee that being a priority.
Yeah.
That is not even a priority. Even when the CDC government took power, there were on several occasions, there were quizzed by journalists in this country. They asked them what are their priorities. They could not tell. They only tell you that yes, the war economic code is our priority. Where is it? Is it at the first place? Is it at second place? Is it at fourth place?
Justifications why the CDC government On their first thing, were actually tight with the establishment of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, we want to link out 17. Exactly. Sure. And then another one would be we just received first CCM amended. The constitution of our country. The president can be overturned to go for another CCM. So what we can do, maybe I'm not speaking for the unit for the CDC or for the government. I'm just providing my perspective
to analyze
exactly. So their strategy. That this could have been the strategy from them. Since we have our first 10 already, first 10 which is equivalent of 6 years, and then we are eyeing another 6 years. So, Mr. President, any attempt for us to come with this, there are certain group of people who will chase after us. They will not agree because almost all of the tribes in this country, they have their son or their daughter who participated in the war. So you the president that will come, you're gonna be hit hard because of that. People are gonna say the worst thing about you. But there will be people who will stand for the decision you have taken. There will be people who will embrace you. But the biggest question is whether these people going to be the majority of voters in our country. So these are some of the places for which the fear comes from within our people. But maybe after Josh Manu, we have secured a second term, or maybe after former Vice President Joe Walker is given a first 6 year mandate, maybe in his first 6 year, he might decide to say, let me finalize this thing. Let's come to a World Economic Forum. Then there will now you create bad feelings or mixed feelings among people. So it is up to them. It is up to the Liberian people when they go to the poll on November 14th to make the rightful decision that will reflect a 6 year. Because this decision we are going to make on November 14th, that decision going to determine our status within the next 6 years.
Most definitely.
So that is it. So we look forward to having another conversation on tomorrow, and we look forward to you having explicit explanation on trending national issues in our country.
Yeah, another issues but they will be done during the course of on Friday, where we will be educating the people because they just ended. From the just ended poll, it was reported that significant portions of the vote that should have gone, or that should be a determination factor to make somebody acquire the 50% plus one vote as required by the Constitution, was actually voted by the invalid votes. Some people like you are actually blaming the National Elections Commissions and especially the team that headed the CVE, which is the Civil Voter Certification. But I think it is totally unjust because parties supposed to be even more involved into this particular exercise. They're supposed to have it's supposed to have a team of educators who will actually be telling the people how to vote. Especially this 2023 election was one of the elections in which you have exuberance among the first-time voters. The exuberance among the first-time voters, and many of them wanted to actually participate in the process. And many of them never had that kind of formal educations. You understand? They never had that kind of formal education. That too could be interpreted as one of the reasons why we accumulated the number of invalid votes. So during the course of our discussions, we definitely utilize that particular portion of our broadcast to actually educate people so that they have certain things based upon the workshop that I went through. They have something called the voter meeting. We need to actually educate people. And about this, I don't need to get involved. You understand? I need to educate people to eradicate with this particular invalid vote issue.
Definitely. So I think we are present.
We are present. So thank you for those of you who are watching this is EC7 Media. We don't want to bore you because the program is scheduled even when fight. So it was nice having all of you, Perry, Mandre, and all of you who have been following the discussions. We want to say this is how we will call it a day to resume by tomorrow. By tomorrow, I will actually be airing the program inside the Print Media. Thank you. Bye-bye from my end.